I was in high school. My father was head of the Naval Advisory sector for the Argentine Navy. And he had a DC-3 assigned to him. And when it was time for me to come home, he sent down to DC-3 to pick me up, and I flew right seat in the DC-3. That's all it took. From thereafter, I wanted to fly. All I had to do was figure out how to fly, how to make it work. And when I started my own company, I decided, okay, now I can afford to go fly.
My dad worked for Trans World Airlines back in the 60s and 70s, and growing up on Long Island, all the airplanes were going into Kennedy Airport, and I could identify every single one of them, and I just became a plane nut, you know? Natural progression was to be a pilot.
I think it started when I was about 5 years old. I had an uncle who had a rubber band wind-up airplane that he had built, and he flew it in the backyard, and it crashed into a tree, and it fascinated me. I've been building model airplanes since I was that age, 5 or 6 years old. Flew remote control airplanes since I was 12 years old, started flying gliders with 16, and powered airplanes with about 18.
I found somebody else who was trying to start a club, and I was his first member, and we started probably about 5 years ago. We went out and bought a Mooney. It's a 4-place aircraft that we now have in our flying club. We have probably about 12 members. And once a month we get together for a little barbecue and talk about planes and anything else up in the air.
Maintaining an aircraft is very expensive, but if you form a club and you have other people helping you pay for it, it's like having friends rent your car.
Typically these are business guys, so from all walks of life, we talk about what they are doing in their business, and then we talk about airplanes.
Most of the guys in our flying club are instrument rated, so some of them are guys who do it for business. They need to go here or there. Other ones just need to go visit family, and it's the most cost-effective thing. Leave when you want. You don't have to wait for the airlines. Don't have to go through security. It's a good thing to have a license.
It is very complicated. It requires a lot of dedication, and it is extremely expensive. Even a small airplane like that going into the air, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that people put into it. So that kind of sacrifice doesn't come easy. At the peak of the subculture, there were about 500,000 private pilots and student pilots registered in the US of A. Today that number has dropped to about 250,000.
This is an elite hobby for, I guess, for the average person. But what it does for us, at least what it does for me, it keeps me mentally sharp. I have to be able to maintain that aircraft. I have to have situational awareness. I have to understand GPS tracking, navigation, have control at all time, whether emergency situation or not. When I come into this aircraft, I forget all my problems. So it may be elitist, but no more than the guy who has a boat.
It's kind of expensive, especially being retired, fixed income, so I don't go up too often.
Also, the level of dedication and commitment that goes into this is just extraordinary. It's just something that is not really that appealing to people today. When I fly with my son, he will either sleep or play on his phone. And that's just the way it is. No interest whatsoever.
A good friend of mine has been wanting to fly with me for years, and he's a doctor, always busy. So I grabbed him on a Monday morning and I said, let's go out for breakfast. He says, where are we going for breakfast? I said, Cape May. Let's go. So people who are earthbound don't get that pleasure. I don't need to play golf because I get to up in the sky, I can look at all the land, not just a bird or a tree or some grass over here. I get to see it all.
But the last big trip I took was with my my son and daughter. Flew from Charlottesville, Virginia, up to my sister's place up in Westchester County, New York. It was a nice trip. We got to do a couple of sightseeing trips afterwards with the cousins, flying around Manhattan. It was pretty cool to actually let them experience what I used to do every day for a living.
So it's been a fantastic flying career. In fact, now what concerns me most is age. When do I have to hang up my stirrups? Because I don't ever want to hang up my stirrups.